watching. Welcome to the Extreme Tech Challenge category finals for the Fintech category. We're so glad to have you join from all around the world. To get a sense of XTC's global community, if you're watching from the live stream, use the comment section and tell us which country you're joining us from. Great. My name is Victoria Slivkov, and I am your host for today. I lead Extreme Tech Challenge as its Executive Managing Director. Extreme Tech Challenge, or XTC, is the world's largest tech innovation ecosystem for making the world a radically better place. It is the launching pad for the disruptive startup technologies addressing the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Our competition categories were developed based on the framework of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. XTC was founded by Young Sung and Bill Tai, two Silicon Valley-based investors, corporate executives, and entrepreneurs. They relaunched XTC 2 years ago at the Viva Tech conference in Europe as a call to action for the business and the startup community to come together to develop technologies that can help us build a better tomorrow. XTC is a concerted effort by industry leaders and entrepreneurs to make real changes in solving the world's major issues. It is not only the right thing to do, but Tech for Good is also contributing to business results. Through our annual competition, XTC provides exceptional companies with global visibility, access to investment capital, corporate collaborations, and world-class mentorship. The XTC's community is comprised of Fortune 500 companies, VCs, tech founders, policymakers, foundations, universities, and change makers working together to create a better tomorrow. Through participating, exceptional startups will gain all these benefits while being a lifelong member of this community. This year, over 3,700 startups applied from 92 countries this year, and 80 finalists were selected by over 300 judges across our 21 regional competitions around the world, and through open application as well. The 80 exceptional global finalists all have emerged as the top 2% from a very competitive application pool. Here's a look at the class of 2021 global finalists. To learn more, head to our website, extremetechchallenge.org. And also, everybody has a vote to vote for their People's Choice Award winner, who will win a coveted position to pitch at the global finals presented by TechCrunch. Today, you're going to hear from 5 fintech startups pitching. Expandiera Azul is a Mexican startup that automates document collection for financial institutions for loan approval. Hillridge Technology, based in Australia, develops and deploys technology to bridge the climate protection gap. Involto, based in Argentina, automates savings and micro-investing service. Jenny Life, based in the US, specializes in life insurance serving women and mothers. And Whirl, based in India, is Asia's only blockchain platform for asset-based loans. Before we get to the pitches, I'd like to welcome our esteemed panel of judges. Luis Diro, founding partner of Ducato Capital. Melina Sanchez, she's the managing director of Innovation Fund at Alfred Landecker Foundation. Vinay Kameswaran, managing director of Evercore. And Sunduk Lee, he's the director of the Morocco lab at Mei Kian Media Group. So let's now get to the pitches. Each startup will pitch for 4 minutes and then interact with the judging panel in question and answers for 4 minutes. So here's the pitching order of the day. I'm going to stop screen sharing right now, and let's welcome Hillridge Technologies. Please take the stage and get ready to screen share.
Great, thank you very much, Victoria. I'm sharing my screen now. Can you confirm that you can see it?
Yes, we can.
Perfect, thank you. Hillridge builds technology to address the climate protection gap. Weather insurance can take weeks and cost thousands to arrange. Our platform does it in seconds, providing farmers with easy access to meaningful weather risk tools. And we launched just last week with Mitsui Sumitomo Insurance and Marsh, the world's largest insurance broker. I'm Dale Schilling, CEO and co-founder of Hillridge. Growing up in a farming family, I learnt firsthand how catastrophic extreme weather can be, and how droughts, frost, heat stress, or too much rain at the wrong time can devastate farmers like my dad. Farming has always been risky, and the weather drives so much income volatility for farmers, but it's getting worse with climate change, yet local insurers only offer low-value fire and hail cover. Corporate agribusinesses use derivatives to manage this risk, but small and medium-sized farms can't. And it's that gap, that lack of financial tools to manage weather risks, that's a problem shared by hundreds of millions of farmers around the world. The insurance industry calls it the climate protection gap. It's a $70 billion problem and a $5 billion opportunity for tech companies like Hillridge. Now, this gap is not because of a lack of data, nor is it because of a lack of demand. The fact is, local insurers simply cannot risk their business by accumulating more local weather perils. So Hillridge has been working with large global insurers interested in agriculture to spread their risks. Our digital platform helps farmers buy weather index insurance to protect against drought, low temperatures, heat stress, or too much rain. And it's different from the traditional insurance you may be familiar with. It's parametric, based on weather readings like temperature or rainfall. It's based on algorithms, not judgment calls. The end-to-end process is automated. And because it's automated, the variable cost for each policy is negligible, reducing the minimum contract size by 2 orders of magnitude. Farmers get a quote online in seconds, and once they buy, they're covered. If that weather event occurs, the farmer's payout is fixed, fast, and guaranteed. It's a game changer for our insurance partners too. Our digital platform provides automated pricing, risk management, portfolio management, and settlement services. It speeds up the time to market for new parametric insurance products. It opens up new market segments, small and medium-sized farming businesses in the developed world and smallhold farmers in emerging markets. And it gives underwriters greater geographic spread to diversify the returns in their portfolio. So, how does Hillridge make money? We license our technology to the insurer, who in turn pays us a percentage of premium revenues. We signed with trial partners last year and generated $50,000 in revenue to Hillridge. And last week, we launched a weather index insurance platform with the backing of Mitsui Sumitomo Insurance, Marsh, and Nutrien, a global farming supplier. Having launched in Australia, we're now raising our seed round and plan to use the funds to expand internationally in unserved and underserved markets. Whether it's in risk management, Fintech, agronomy, or engineering, we have the right team to make it happen. By 2040, climate change means that catastrophic weather will hit our farms at more than double the rate of today. Let's give farmers the tools they need to manage their weather risks, and with that, greater peace of mind and financial resilience for them and the communities they live and work in. Thank you.
Thank you, Dale, from Hillridge. And now I'm going to open up the floor for judges Q&A. Do you want to take down your slide, Dale? Great.
Perfect, thank you.
If you don't mind, I'd go first. Dale, can you just talk us through very simply what your go-to-market strategy is? How you're planning to broaden the base of farmers that you take the product out to?
Yeah, so our go-to-market strategy is to deliver this product through existing partners that already have a relationship with farmers. So in Australia, for example, that's Nutrien. They're a farming supply company that supplies around half of the broadacre crop farmers here in Australia. They also operate in Canada, the US, and Argentina, and so will naturally grow in countries where they're strong and look for corporate partners that have that existing relationship with farmers in those countries.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinay. Any other questions?
Yes, I also have a question. So I imagine that small and medium-sized farmers, especially those are first-time farmers, might not have the resources to get a lot of different types of insurances, and they might prioritize some other types of insurances are more common in the market. How do you make sure that they don't have this trade-off effect? Have you thought about bundling or cross-selling with other types of products?
Yeah, that's right. So with our corporate partners, Nutrien, for example, offers working capital loans to farmers. And as part of our go-to-market strategy, we've ensured that the insurance premium can be bundled into those existing working capital loans. You know, it's really important for farmers because typically they receive cash flow once, maybe twice a year.
Some other types of insurances are more common in the market. How do you make sure that they don't?
Go ahead, please continue. Dale?
I'm sorry, I think I missed the second part to that question. It was tailing off.
Melina, would you repeat the second part of your question, please?
Sure. So the original question was whether you have thought about bundling or cross-selling with other types of insurances where farmers might not face that trade-off option between, insurances that they are already working with and yours.
Yeah, so we're partnering with Marsh and who already offers existing insurance, so that traditional crop insurance. This partners quite well with that, so it can be bundled together with that. But the value add for us was in extending that risk profile for the insurer as well as for the farmer. You know, that's the piece that's missing in the market today.
Great, thank you. Any other questions?
I do have one more if possible. I wasn't completely sure if this insurance model is based on one-off premiums or if it's a recurring premium insurance.
Yeah, so it's one-off per season. So typically the farmer will take this out at critical points in the agronomic cycle per crop season, but then it would be a repeat purchase, the following season when they plant. So for example, they might be worried about emergence risk, drought risk when seedlings emerge. They might be worried about spring radiation frosts or heat stress, or they might be worried about too much rain just before harvest. And so they can take out insurance for those specific agronomic points, and they can repeat that purchase each crop cycle.
How do you make sure then there is retention year over year?
So we've only just launched. This is our first year. We'll look at retention policies from next year onwards, but it's certainly something we've got our eye on.
Thank you.
Victoria, do we have time for one additional question?
Sure, go ahead, Luis, please.
Hello, Dale. Thank you very much for your presentation. Just for me to understand, maybe you touched that a little bit during your presentation. What's the financial impact for the farmers? Meaning, how much can they save with your product and service when compared to traditional insurances? If they were to claim, does that mean that one of these potential high risks would basically wipe out their production, and so they really need to have this type of insurances?
Yeah, that's exactly the point. So a catastrophic drought can end a farmer's career, in quite an ignominious way. And so what this insurance does is it protects farmers against those catastrophic downsides that can really blindside them. So that means that with this insurance, they can take more investment, they can take more risks. What farmers are telling us is that with this kind of insurance, they're willing to invest in more fertilizer, for example, and they end up producing more. The University of California, Berkeley did a study over in West Africa, and they found that with this kind of insurance, that farmers, on a pilot basis, farmers produced up to 20% more because they were able to invest with confidence. And so it's that peace of mind and financial security that we're providing them.
Okay, that's all the questions we have. Thank you for judges. Let's move on to the next presentation, Expediente Azul. Roberto, please share your screen. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Did you know that fintechs lending out money in Latin America are basically just automated loan sharks? Well, don't take my word for it. Let's look at this comparison website that shows the top fintech lending platforms in Latin America. And you can see things like 4,000% interest rate, 5,000% interest rate, 3,000% interest rate, all the way down to the most decent interest rate of 100% operated by a traditional bank. So how can they get away with this? Well, basically, fintechs have solved this following problem. The first thing an individual sees when he wants to get a loan to buy his house or for his business is a list of all the documents that he has to send to the financial institution. And this is the face that person usually makes. Why? Because as he begins to send these documents to the financial institution, always the same thing happens. Some documents are wrong, missing, outdated, missing stamps, signatures, so on and so forth. And this creates a back and forth of emails, phone calls, and even visits until all this documentation is gathered correctly. And what's really important to understand is that no traditional financial institution will grant a loan without the proper documentation. And the technology they use today in these traditional financial institutions are basically Post-its and email. This is a real 60 email conversation. And you can see some subject lines like 3rd times the charm. So you can bet that document was sent incorrectly at least 3 times. So yeah. And this is where Expediente Azul comes in. Expediente Azul is an online onboarding platform that we sell to traditional financial institutions to give them all these benefits that the fintechs already have. And basically, we show their customers, the person that wants a loan, a list of all the documents that they have to send and the status of each and every one of these documents. In green, if the document is correct, in red, if the document is incorrect, in blue, if it's pending review, or in black, if the document has not yet been submitted. And when you click on each one of these squares, you see a detailed description of what the document has to have in order for the document to be correct, and in red right there on the top, how to fix it in case the document was sent incorrectly. And we sent everybody involved in this document gathering process a daily email showing the status of each and every one of these documents, so everybody's exactly on the same page. And for the first time, we give financial institutions visibility of what's going on in this document gathering process and the intelligence to understand which documents are the hardest for their customers to get right. We have been growing 14% month over month. We are well on our way to process 1 million documents already. In terms of the team, this is me, Roberto Ibarra. I have experience scaling apps to millions of users. My co-founder actually brokered hundreds of these large loans, and our vice president of engineering is an expert in AI algorithms and blockchain. One of his algorithms was published in a book by Cisco Systems. So we have a great balance of tech and business skills. We are now operating with over 70 financial institutions in Mexico, Latin America, Brazil, and the Caribbean. And we have increased this time to money process by 3 times. But most importantly, we have reduced customer abandonment like 2.5 times. So more customers that begin to get onboarded to our platform complete the process. And we give loan officers the ability to process 5 times more loans at the same time. So who cares? Well, when you give traditional loan officers technology to process, they can process more loans, not just the ones they think are the best ones. So we remove these biases and we give everybody a fair chance through automation. It has been proven by the World Bank that when you lend out more money, you increase the country's GDP, but it's only when you simplify access to loans that you reduce poverty. Just to give you an idea, in Mexico, 50% of the companies never ask for a loan because it's just too hard. If you remember this character here, this is the monster that asks other characters for their documentation. And this is the image customers have of financial institutions. So help us change that and help us stop this 4,000% interest that maybe you or your family members are already paying. So vote Expediente Azul. Thank you.
Great presentation, Roberto. Okay, now we're going to open up to judges' questions. If you want to take down your slide share. All right, judges, please jump in.
I can go first. Thank you, Roberto, for the presentation. So I very much understand the business problem you're trying to solve. What it wasn't too clear to me was the impact problem you're trying to solve. If you can explain further how your product is directly benefiting the end customer rather than benefiting the banks that are ultimately giving the loan, and how you make sure that there is, a direct impact and it's not just up for the bank to decide how much interest rate they ultimately charge the customer. How do you make that impact case a little bit more concrete?
Well, basically, when people are desperate for money, they go for the simplest process, right? So what ends up happening is that people go to these to these fintechs that lend out at 4,000% interest rate. So this is the social problem, right? Because the fintechs are like these automated loan sharks that have simplified the problem. And the traditional lenders that maybe give out loans at 20% when it's very expensive, they don't have this technology. So it's very hard for a regular individual that's on an urgent need to get money to go through a document gathering process. And when you add this on top, that loan officers in banks don't have the time to process all of the loans, they basically just help out the customers that are more likely, in their opinion, to get a loan approved. So with our technology, we democratize the ability for traditional lenders to use the same simple technology that the fintechs use, these ones that charge 4,000%, but we give everybody a fair chance to get a loan at maybe a more standard Latin American rate of 20% all the way down to 7%. So this is how we solve the lenders. The traditional lenders operate in a very competitive traditional market, and these are already the ones offering a lower interest rate. So this is the idea that our technology helps them enter into this sector that the fintechs have been growing in. But of course, the fintechs are leveraging and extracting all this value with super high interest rates that traditional lenders don't charge. So this is where we match, right? We want to give the traditional lenders the technology the fintechs are using.
I have two questions, and I don't know if you have enough time to address both. Well, first, can you talk a little bit about the scalability issue? As in, every institution has its own workflow, its own process. How does your product really adapt in a seamless way to each of those workflows? Or is there an intense installation effort that needs to go in? So we can start with, I'll have another question.
Basically, our platform works with document checklists. I mean, we call them documents because this is what people are used to seeing, but it's actually like data checklists, right? The future of all this information is data. So we actually, in many different countries where we operate, we connect to back ends where we extract information from public sources like IRS records or banking records or identity records. But the idea is that every financial institution where we operate, they simply just type in all the document checklists that they require in case there's an integration to how to get this document or this data publicly. We connect to that data source, and this is how it's configured. One of the things you have to understand is that people see this document gathering process as a workflow, but it is not, because this is one thing that's very unique to us. Everybody assumes that the customer has all the documentation ready to send out correctly at the time that it is asked of them. But this is incorrect. So our platform allows customers to start sending documents asynchronously at the moment they get them. So this is what really speeds up the process. If today you get one document that maybe they're going to ask later, send it now for review. If you don't have the document they're asking you for today, it doesn't matter. Go forward and get the documents that you need. And this is what speeds up the process and makes it simple. So I hope I answered that question. We work with a lot of identity and other providers to speed up these integrations in the countries we operate.
It's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. We got all the judges' questions in. Great. Thank you, Roberto, for your presentation. And now I'd like to invite onto the pitching stage Envuelto.
Okay, hello. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you. Please screen share when you're ready.
Okay, we are Envuelto, your intelligent piggy bank. We use micro savings for social economic development in LATAM. Do you know that more than 80% of people in LATAM have no savings at all? That's why, based on the new theory of Richard Taylor, winner of the Nobel Prize in Economics in 2017, we developed a fintech company to help people make savings in an easy and automatic way. It's like transforming a staircase into a piano to stimulate the use of the traditional stairs. That is Invuelto. We create nudges through technology to influence people's economic decisions so they can automate behaviors that improve their lives. Every time money is spent, there is an opportunity to transform that into a save through cashbacks, roundups, etc. After this behavior is modified, it can be automatized with technology. We seek to generate micro savings opportunities to encourage our users to set aside money from their wallets every time they have extra money or make an expense. For example, when people pay $10 for something that costs $7, those $3 extra can be transformed into savings. That is the spare change product that we have developed. We can also integrate Invuelto into marketplaces to receive cashbacks of your purchases. There you can see real print screens of your own piggy bank. By different levels, we motivate people to save more often. Crypto savings allows you to exchange your saving for cryptocurrencies. We also deliver daily profitability. We have different examples of companies that help people save money in other parts of the world. We want to focus on promoting savings for LATAM. We consider our market the 70% of people who don't save in LATAM. That is 440 million, and within that, we will look for people who get a regular income. If each of those people save only $100, we will have a potential market of $22 billion. We currently have 1,500 users in Argentina. We launched our first MVP at the end of 2018. We were growing well until mid-2019, when there was a currency crisis here in Argentina. Then at mid-2020, we integrated with a partner which made us grow strongly thanks to the spare change product. We started with a freemium B2C business model, charging monthly $1 per user. We are currently advancing in B2B models as a white label and B2B2C to provide, for example, a financial service within supermarket chains and gas stations. This is our team. Alejandro Bar is an entrepreneur. Federico, I'm an accountant, MBA, and finance specialist. Mariano, is our CTO, is system engineer. But we are not alone. We have an entire team working with us in marketing, development, and communication. And together we are building the best personal finance platform in LATAM. We have just closed a 140,000 investment round that will allow us to grow in the next 12 months by improving our products, scaling up in Argentina and Chile, and making strong our operation. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you for your presentation, Federico. Turning over to the judges for your questions.
Hello, Federico. Thank you very much for your presentation. Does your platform have some type of educational point as well to teach this population how to invest and what's best for their profiles?
Yes, we think that traditional finance education, personal finance education, doesn't work very much. So we want to educate people with technology, making these nudges. We make savings easy for everyone, so you haven't be too expert for investment and for savings. You only have to log in at Invuelto and configure your savings, and we'll do the rest. So we are educating people with technology. Yes.
Hi, Federico. One question on my side. I was wondering what business model has driven your growth over the last few months, B2B, B2B2C, and what is your customer acquisition sales strategy?
Okay, we we want to go to market through an alliance with partners, where we want to reach retail customers. We have a conversation with large supermarket chains and developers of systems that are widely used by the retail and industry. So, and also our main investor is in this round is a former bank owner and expert in the financial industry, and with many connections that we want to leverage.
Melina, did that answer your question?
The first one, yes. Sorry, the second one, yes, not the first one. What business model has driven your growth over the last few months? Because you just mentioned that you're going the retail channel, but just sort of B2C. Are you going to phase that out? How are you acquiring customers on that side?
Okay, sorry. No, because we grow by B2C model or maybe B2B2C with them, because we launched this product of spare change in a supermarket chain, and there we offer people to give their spare change in our platform here in Argentina, and we know that in other countries of Latin, it occurs that when you purchase something, they haven't the little change to give you back. So we give people this change in their piggy bank, so they they are saving at the instant they leave the supermarket. So this make us growth really fast during the pandemic, and we are adjusting some of this product to launch to all the houses or all the supermarket succursals. I don't know how to say that.
Branches.
These branches, yes. So this will make us grow fastly, and I want to finish the development of this product to offer to another supermarket chains.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, and thank you for your presentation. Now, I'm going to invite the founder of Jenny Life to the virtual stage.
Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate it. Hi, everyone. My name is Leif Larson, and I'm a co-founder of Jenny Life. And I also have the firsthand experience of losing a parent prematurely in an accident. This loss had left emotional and financial devastation that was incredibly hard for my family to recover from. In part, this was due to inadequate insurance. Did you know that for about $1 a day, it's possible to purchase a life insurance policy for up to $500,000 in coverage? And yet, less than 5% of all women and mothers on this planet own a life insurance policy. This is putting their household on a financial precipice. Life insurance is an incredibly useful financial tool. It can be used to stay in your home and pay off the mortgage. It can act as an income replacement tool. It can put food on the table, and it can be used to pay for the children's education. And even sometimes it's the difference between being poor or creating generational wealth. Simply put, life insurance is the single largest financial backstop that's ever been created by humankind. Jenny Life is the world's first female-centric insurance brand. Our ethnically diverse and gender-diverse team is working to address the $1 trillion global mortality protection gap that's being experienced by women and mothers around the world. We're solving this problem by using cutting-edge technology. The old way of buying life insurance often took about 4 to 8 weeks, required medical examination like blood draws and urine analysis. At Jenny Life, we offer economical, convenient, and fast insurance designed around the needs of women and mothers. We're talking about the ability to buy life insurance in minutes, not days or weeks, and often without any type of a health exam. This is a $41 trillion life insurance protection gap that exists globally. We use digital technology to serve these customers. We built the world's first native mobile phone apps to get a quote, apply for, and purchase life insurance. We're deeply committed to overlooked and underserved populations where the need is greatest. We are woman first. And we're also more than just a fintech and an insurtech. We've been building and giving away free apps that help solve the everyday problems that are being experienced by these women and mothers. Whether it's managing the household vaccination records or our free prescription discount savings program, our goal is to help add value by enabling her to save money and make more money. So we're seeking partners that are interested in helping us to bring life insurance to women and mothers across the globe and to help close this tremendous mortality protection gap. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Leif. Thank you for your presentation. Now I'm going to turn it over to the judges for your questions.
Hello, Liz. Thank you very much for your presentation. Just a quick question. As you mentioned, there's a big gap in the market, and you're tackling a specific public here, which is great. How do you reach to these specific women and mothers? How is your go-to-market strategy?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Louis. So the first thing that we do is we have a completely female marketing team. Even though you're talking with a man right now, and I do have my own unique sensitivities to this audience, there's no better brand storyteller or anyone that has more conviction around helping provide the right information, education to this audience than women. It's authentic. It's real. And so our marketing team has been focused on doing that. Now we sub-segment into different audiences. Here in the US, for example, we have different cohorts, socioeconomic status. And frankly, when we go to market looking at overserved communities in large urban areas, instead of just having, a typical white woman in a commercial, we're using people of color, to help resonate with them at an individual level, and also speak to their truth, in their own verbiage. So we're really trying to reflect in the way that we're going to market the same way that our audience may best understand the product. So that's really been a big piece of our success here, is speaking to women, speaking to mothers, and doing so in a way that's really thoughtful and respectful of their own unique situation.
Great. Did that answer your question, Melina? Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Liv, and also sorry for your loss. I'm interested in hearing a little bit more through your research. What are the pain points that you've identified why women don't have this type of life insurance, specifically in the US, because I believe that's your primary target market. So what are the reasons why they don't have already life insurance? Why would they go to you instead of a Lemonade or a competitor?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Melina. So first off, we're partnered with the world's largest reinsurer, and we have every intention of serving a global audience in time. But you're right, our initial go-to-market has been the United States, simply because we're based here. We do differentiate in our approach in quite a few different ways. Number one, we're trying to add value directly to our audience by providing additional services that you don't typically get with an insurance carrier. But I think that your question is getting to the heart of why is this? And I think that there's a couple of reasons. One of those is cultural. Believe it or not, at one time here in the United States of America, it was illegal for a woman to own a life insurance policy. A lot of people are shocked when I tell them that. But up until the 1950s and 1960s, the traditional nuclear family was that the male was the primary breadwinner, and he was the only person that needed a life insurance policy. The reality today is that over half of all U.S. households, the female, the mother in that household, is the CFO of the household. And if you take a look and double click on her real and imputed value that she brings to the household, it averages about $123,000 a year if she was fully getting paid for all the additional work that she does in her household. The loss of that person to her household, it can be a tremendous setback to the household there. And the way to actually activate these customers into the product we found is by really helping to empower them, inform and educate them around the value of her to the household. And the kernel of truth, the heart of this, is that historically women have not been great at declaring their value, their self-worth. And that's what we're trying to overcome.
Great, thank you, Melina. Did that answer your question?
Yes. So basically, the main pinpoint that you have identified, at least from what I heard, is the cultural aspect. That they, in the past, they didn't even think about getting this life insurance, and the way that you're trying to solve it is by educating at the same time as you're offering your products.
Yep, absolutely. And part of that is understanding the economic consequences that may not be just intangible cash that the mom's bringing into the household, but all the other values that she drives into the household that have an economic impact if something untoward was to happen to her. We're talking about children's education, running of the household, so many of these duties and tasks that she currently wears the mantle of in her household, those do have an imputed value to them that needs to be addressed with insurance. And that's the big piece, is for her to understand the economic impact that she makes to her household, not just necessarily how much income she's bringing into the house. Yep. Thank you,
Great.
Maria.
Thank you, Leif. Thank you, judges.
Thank you.
And with that, I'd like to introduce our final presenter of the day, World. Please take the stage.
Oh, great. Thanks. Thanks, Victoria. Hi, everyone.
We don't see your slide share.
Is it good now?
Yes, great now.
Okay. So sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Ashish Anand, co-founder of Whirl, a blockchain fintech startup solving the distress sale problem of Indian farmers. India's largest blockchain network, Whirl is currently present in 1,400 warehouses. In last 18 months, we have tokenized more than $500 million worth agri-commodities. And recently, we have secured $300 million worth committed lending corpus from our partners banks. We work with governments, banks, credit bureaus, and have won accolades both in India as well as outside of India. At the moment, in last 6 months, we have won seven awards across the globe, just to add that. So in India, and not only in other emerging economies as well, distress sale means selling commodities, selling the harvest, selling the crop for pennies is a sad reality. Unfortunately, this happens almost every year in most of the agri economies. And that creates a huge social as well as economic issues for farmers across the globe. Sometimes the farmers are forced to leave their crop in the fields instead of taking it to the marketplace. It reduces their income, increases poverty, and sometimes also drive them to take drastic steps. How do we solve that? Of course, these distress sale phenomena is actually a temporary phenomena, happens due to all of a sudden supply at the time of harvest and local supply demand mismatches. So the essential course, the reasonable economic course of action for the farmers to defer the sale. Unfortunately, if they defer the sale, they go into liquidity crunch. So they don't have money to go for working capital for the next crop. They don't have money to marry their daughters, and they don't have money to pay the fee of their sons. So it's a devil and the deep sea. If the farmers sell they have very low realizable income. If they don't sell, they have liquidity issues. So to solve both of these issues, we introduce what is known as warehouse receipt finance, which helps increase farmers' income by up to 40%. In some of the African countries, farmers' income has gone up by 300% on adoption of warehouse receipt finance. It's a very simple product. Farmers bring their crop to a warehouse associated with the lending partners. And against that security, banks lend the money. So that way, farmers are able to defer their sales by 1 or 2 months and at the same time have liquidity up to 70% of the crop value. World has created an integrated platform bringing borrowers, banks, warehouses, and electronic markets together, thereby creating a seamless, paperless, and personless ecosystem, solving the entire warehouse-related needs of the farmers in India. And the benefit is that we provide finance as well as market access at low cost to the farmers at their doorstep without any need to go to the bank. They get the loan in their bank accounts and in near real-time environment. At the same time, using blockchain technology, we have been able to reduce the risk of the banks into the warehouse receipt finance portfolio, which unfortunately is a highly fraud risk-prone area. We also help reduce the cost of the bank and thereby create win-win situation for both the borrowers and the lenders in the warehouse receipt finance product. We offer our service as a platform as a service on a transaction fee basis to each of the three parties, banks and warehouses and the borrowers involved, and make money from the transaction at different stages from each of them. Right now, we are present in Indian warehouse receipt finance segment. We are launching our decentralized finance protocol in the month of July and also looking for geographical expansion now. In the longer term, cross-sale of different products to the same set of customers will be our further expansion plan. Right now, we are catering to $100 billion of Indian market in warehouse receipt finance and physical commodity trading, and will be expanding it to, in total, around $350 to $450 billion market over a period of time. The team behind this, we are total 15 people team, out of which 3 co-founders. I come from finance background. 2 of my co-founders are from technology and blockchain background, supported by advisors in both blockchain as well as inclusion space. So in India and outside as well as across the globe, we are looking to change the face of warehouse receipt finance, servicing 4 SDG goals as well. Thanks a lot. Thanks, judges. Thanks, Victoria. Thanks, XTC.
Great. Thank you for your presentation, Ashish. Turn it over to the judges for your questions. Do you want to take down your screen share, Ashish?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation, Ashish. Do you have an estimation of how much less does your product cost to the farmers, meaning the lending? Is it lower than the usual lenders in the market?
Rate of interest we are offering our loans are at 9% per annum. Typically lower than what even the banks offer, which is around 10 to 13% per annum, and much lower than what our non-banking partners offer, and certainly very much lower than what many lenders offer, which will be something like 36 to 60% per annum.
Thank you.
Can you explain why you decided to use blockchain to deliver this service? I mean, I just want to understand that a little bit better, because it feels like the end product can be delivered off blockchain as well.
Sure. Can I share my screen, by the way? So essentially speaking, you are very much right, Vinay, why we use blockchain here. Blockchain is used to solve the problem of the lenders, and the lenders suffer not the problem of the farmers. The lenders in this commodity finance or warehouse receipt finance have been suffering huge losses every year. They have, in 2020, one single year in commodity finance, globally banks lost more than $12 billion. So to solve those fraud problems, we are using blockchain, and that's where the single blockchain solution comes. If you look at this diagram, the banks and the warehouses, exchanges, audit oracles, they are part of the blockchain. The borrowers don't use the blockchain ecosystem. So it's a hybrid solution, serving the problem of both the sides. So using blockchain, what we have been able to do, that we have been able to reduce bankers' fraud risk of lending against duplicate or forged receipts, multiple borrowing, excessive borrowing, cost collateral, and other problems.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Vinay.
Other questions?
I can ask one more or one last one. Thank you for your presentation. Looking at the team, do you have finance and IT experience? But I don't see any domain expertise or domain experience in the agri-tech sector, unless I missed it, which could be the case. How are you thinking about filling that gap? How would you get access to that domain expertise and those contacts in industry?
So essentially, thanks, Melina. Very probing question for sure. So essentially, we are a fintech product and not an agri-tech product per se. But if you, one of our advisors, Mr. Anviramna, so he is our long-term advisor and has been associated with World for last 2 years. So he was group CEO of Basics, one of the largest MFIs of India. So we get the domain expertise from there in the agri space and financial inclusion space. By the way, I come from a farmer's family. I have been seeing warehouse receipt finance application in my village since I was a kid. So draw upon some experience from there and get some advice from Mr. On the banking side, I have, on the finance side, I have around 15 years of debt syndication and 4 years of blockchain experience.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you, Ashish. And thank you to all the presenters. Great. Yeah, and I want to thank all the startups presented today and the judges, and congratulations to the 5 global finalists for the FinTech category finalist status. And we're really impressed by the great work that you're doing to create a radically better world. These startups are looking to connect with investors and corporate partners, as you heard. So if anybody on the line watching is interested, please reach out to me and we'll be happy to connect you. And also, please join us for the rest of the category finals series, continue tomorrow to next Wednesday, June 30th. Tomorrow we will be presenting the ag tech, food, and water category. So mark your calendars accordingly and head to our website, extremetechchallenge.org, under competition and under 2021 category finals for the streaming links. And we're going to be announcing publicly the category winners on July 1st. And for everyone watching, you're all invited to attend the Extreme Tech Challenge 2021 Global Finals presented by TechCrunch on July 22nd at 9 a.m. Pacific time. It is open and free for the public to attend this virtual event. Join to watch the category winners, special awards winners, and the People's Choice Award winners pitch to a judging panel of world-renowned executives and investors. And stay for the virtual networking with thousands of corporate executives, VCs, startup founders, policymakers, and domain experts. So don't miss it. Head to our website to make sure you sign up and claim your ticket. And this now concludes the public pitch session of the Extreme Tech Challenge FinTech category finals. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you at the Ag Tech, Food, and Water category finals tomorrow at the same time. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Victoria. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, Victoria. Thanks, judges.